Welcome to GK Mojo. So today we are going to see the fourth part of parajumbles. Alright, so let's revise some basic tricks to solve parajumbles and then jump on to the actual level CAT exam questions. Right, let's go ahead. So the concept of parajumbles. We have seen a lot of concepts of parajumbles in the previous videos and series of parajumbles, right? To just revise a broad approach in solving parajumbles, I would like to tell you first, read all the sentences. All right, read sentences and try to understand the message of the paragraph. Second, identify the topic and theme. Correct, I've told you central theme, very important. Third, quickly identify the tone. All right, so you should be able to identify what the tone is. This will help you a lot. All right, look for crucial clues and linking words, mandatory pairs, introductory sentence, and conclusion statements. All right, so this we have done already. Introductory pair, all right, introductory sentence, mandatory pair, conclusion sentence. Three will form a very main part. All right, at obviously you have to look at some of the pronouns and the starting words of the sentences. All right, so pronouns and connectives. So, with the help of these 4 to 5 points that I repeat in each and every video, why? Because I want you to be completely aware about this point. It should be like on the tip of your tongue when you start solving parajumble questions. All right. Once you are very crystal clear with these topics and these points, you'll be able to solve any parajumble, be it from SAT, IFT, or CAT. So, we'll make it easy for any exam for that matter. Right. So, let's get on to the questions. So let us have a look at set number one. So let us start reading the sentences, try to understand what the topic is, what the central theme is, and then we'll start sequencing the sentences into a coherent paragraph. Alright, which makes a perfect meaning. Sentence number one. Johnson treated English very practically as living language with many different shades of meaning and adopted his definitions on the principle of English common law according to the precedent. All right, so this is talking about some Johnson who treated English very practically. We do not know with what context they are saying this. This definitely cannot be a introductory sentence. All right, second sentence. Masking a profound inner torment, Johnson found solace in compiling the words of a language that was in its coarse complexity and comprehensive genius, the precise analogue of his character. Alright, so this is describing Johnson. Again, this cannot be your introductory sentence. Samuel Johnson was a pioneer who raised common sense to heights of genius, and a man of robust popular instincts whose watchwords were clarity, precision, and simplicity. Right? So, this is basically introducing Samuel Johnson, a person who has been spoken about in sentence 1 and 2 also, right? But why are they mentioning him as a pioneer, or why are they introducing him? We do not know that, right? So we'll read the other sentences and then decide which is the introductory sentence. The 18th century English reader in the new world of global trade and global warfare needed a dictionary with authoritative acts of definition of words of a language that was becoming seeded throughout the first British Empire by vigorous and practical champion. All right, so this sentence is kind of starting a new topic, a completely new sense, a new idea, all right, about English reader and the language that was evolving, right? Fifth sentence. The Johnson, who was challenged by Bishop Berkeley's solipsistic theory of non-existence of matter by kicking a larger stone, I refute it thus, is the same Johnson for whom language must have a daily practical use. Alright, again Johnson is related to a language. So if I have to decide between third and fourth, I think four is the best opening sentence. Why? Because this is generalistically talking. This is very specific about Samuel Johnson. And you must remember, I had given you a rule. We move from general to specific whenever we are in a dilemma. Alright, so this is a very general sentence about English reader, 18th century English reader, and in the new world of global trade. Alright, they are saying why we needed a dictionary with authoritative acts of definition of words. Alright, so the rest of the sentences are about Samuel Johnson, who is introduced in sentence number three. So basically, if I have to place the sentences, I would definitely go for 4 first and 3 following it. The unit 5-1 follows 3, right? So the pair 5-1 follows 3. Why? Will look. 5 states that Johnson language must have a daily practical use, right? Here it has been said, see, I have underlined it, that language must have a daily practical use. And one adds to this, explaining how he treated language, right? Very practically as a living language. Here it is continuing, he treated it as a living language practically. So basically 5-1 forms a pair, right? So this 5-1 should definitely come after 4-3. Why? Because this is just continuing the idea from one to other. We are only left with 2, so definitely 2 will come at the last. But any which ways, if you read the sentence, second sentence, masking a profound inner torment, Johnson found solace in combining the words of language that was in its core complexity and comprehensive genius. The precise analogue of his character. The precise analogue of his character. Kind of a concluding sentence. It is describing why Johnson and what was his character, right? What was his character described by? So hence 2 will come at the last. So, all in all, this correct order for this specific parajumble is 4-3-5-1-2, right? I hope you have understood why we have taken fourth as the first sentence and not 3. If you can figure this out, then you're sorted. Let us have a look at the set number 2. The implications of retelling Indian stories hence takes on new meaning in modern India. This hence gives us a clue that this cannot be your introductory sentence, right? Second sentence. The stories we tell reflect the world around us. Okay, you can keep this aside. We cannot help but retell the stories that we value. After all, they are never quite right for us in our time, right? So we cannot help. All right, but this does not have a context before it. It will be like an abstract topic that you're talking about. All right, which has no definite meaning why we are talking on this topic, why we are starting with it. Hence, this cannot be your introductory sentence. And even if we manage to get them right, all right, and they are only right for us. Other people living around us will have different reasons for telling similar stories, right? So this is starting with and. So pretty much clear that this should have something before it. So definitely this cannot be your first sentence, right? As soon as we capture a story, the world we are trying to capture has changed. So this also you can make out from the tone that the author or whoever the writer is, he must have had something before this sentence, right? Something regarding a story. Then only he is concluding it by saying that as soon as we capture a story, the world we are trying to capture has changed, right? So even this cannot be a for introductory sentence. The only generalistic statement over here that we can start with is statement number 2. 2 being the most general of the given statement is the best opening sentence, right? Now what will follow 2? The stories we tell reflect the world around us, right? So it is talking about story. Look at the fifth sentence. As soon as we capture a story, the world we are trying to capture has changed, right? So this should definitely come after 2. This is in continuation with the idea of second sentence, right? 5 follows 2 as it continues the theme of how world is captured in stories, right? Also, you should have a look at sentence number 3 and sentence number 4. All right. 3 talks of stories, never quite right, right? Never quite right for us in our time. And 4 about what happens if we manage to get them quite right, right? If we manage to get them right. So please see the connection, right? Hence 3 and 4 is a link, right? So 3 and 4 will come immediately after 2 and 5. You should be able to spot such links. First, they are not quite right, and even if we manage to get them right. So, this is a straightforward clue, a very easy one, that 3 4 will follow. We are only left with one over here, right? The implications of retelling Indian stories, hence, it is a concluding word, hence, perhaps, alright? So, this gives a very big clue, takes on new meaning in modern India. It is a conclusive statement. Hence, the correct order for this set is 2 5 3 4 1. So this was a particularly easy set. You should have picked this up in the examination as soon as you saw this. Alright. Even the theme was very easy about storytelling and capturing the stories of the world. Right. And getting mandatory pairs in this particular set was also very easy. They had given ample amount of clues to get the correct sequence in order, right? So that's all in this video. Please visit us at gkmojo.com. Thank you.